So hey guys, today I will be see what happens to JoyfulNightzz. His description says, "I'll never smile again." Weird, but let's watch his video. It starts off with our players we're gonna call Joy in a hole. He says, "Hey guys, sorry my recording stopped, I don't have enough space." He just stands there, then says, "But I started recording since I felt paranoid." Then says, "It's just before we hear a cave sound." Then continues to type and says, "It's just hasn't been daytime yet." Then Joe digs out. Joe runs around for a bit gathering materials to build his house. I speeded it up for y'all because nothing really happened. Joe starts to build his house. Then Joe says, "Actually, now thinking of it, there's no hostile mobs, which is weird, because usually there's hostile mobs at night." He places torches. Then we get a cut to Joe mining. Then a black screen. What going on? If you know what's going on, tell me in the comments. We cut to Joe at his fully built house. He's excited to show us viewers it. Joe says, "My house is finished. I'm not the best build since I haven't played for a while." We get a tour of his house. Did y'all just hear that? What is that? That sounds so weird. I don't know exact what it is. Joe says, "I've got my mine shaft, I've been mining for a while." Then that sound come back, it's so weird. Joe shows us his mine shaft. I notice how these to have names while this one doesn't. Joe walks into the door which had no name. I'ma speed it up for y'all. He finds a amethyst cavern. Then says, "I found this while mining." Then keeps walking. I'ma speed it up again so y'all don't get bored. Joe stops, then says, "I don't want to use tool to see what's changed, but I might have to." Also says, "I haven't played for a while and my kid says I should," which makes sense. Then Joe says, "I will show him next Friday when he comes to my house who's he Does Joe mean her kid? We don't know yet, but we could find out soon. We hear a cave sound before the screen turns black. This wasn't the first time. What is going on? You can barely hear beeping sounds. What is that? Joe comes back and says, "Sorry, I had someone call me." Who was calling Joe? Then Joe says, "I wish he came more often." Who is he, his kid? We still don't know yet, but it's weird how he got mentioned 2 times. Then Joe starts mining again. Wait, what was that? What is Joe hiding? It cuts to Joe walking back like we just don't see anything. He checks his cords and covers everything up except for this text. It says XYZ 401.448 11.000 188.401. Weird how this is the only text that's not covered. Then Joe stares a hole, then a loud cave noise come up. He stares at the door. Then says, "Something feels off." Joe says, "I don't like the door." It makes sense because it looks different, almost like something's there. Then the screen cuts black. Whatever's there, I'm gonna call it void. It goes black for 15 seconds, but I'ma speed it up. We cut back to the sound of rain and Joe made it out the door. He says rain before checking his cords, and the covered up text was there again. Joe walks and we get a glimpse of this hole we haven't seen yet. How did this happen? How did his roof disappear? Did the void do it? We don't know. It could have been thunder since it was raining, but if it was, then it would burn his whole house, not one chunk. We notice how there are 3 chickens in Joe's house. He just stands there frightened. Then says, "How?" Wait a second. Why is Joe's chest 2 blocks away from the wall? When we first seen his chest was against the wall, not 2 blocks away. Weird. He checks his stuff. He places a sign and says, "Hello," like he's trying to talk to someone. Then Joe says, "This grass hasn't grown yet," which means this hole isn't natural. It got dug up by Simone, or was it void? The screen cuts black before we see Joe walking in the tunnel again. What is Joe doing? This is the third time we hear this sound. He collects the stone from his furnace, then places them behind him. It's like Joe is keeping something from entering the tunnel with him. Void. He places another row of stone. Joe walks into the tunnel before cutting the video. We see him going down the ladder. We see Joe go in the tunnel, but I'ma speed it up for y'all. When Joe gets to the amethyst cavern, he mines out a lot of amethyst, but I'ma speed it out. He mines out the half of the amethyst cavern before the screen cuts black again. Now we see Joe running away from something, maybe void, but he's covering up the tunnel before reaching the end. When Joe reaches the end of the tunnel, he blocks off the tunnel. Then he names the tunnel 1. What is 1? We don't know exactly what is, but for now let's keep going. After the screen cuts black, he climbs up the ladder. Then he builds something we don't know just yet, but I'ma speed it up. Is this why Joe needed the amethyst? After the black screen, we get to fully see Joe's build. Joe says it's supposed to be a man like charging. Why did Joe build this? Is he trying to say something to Void to have peace? Then says, I know I'm bad at building. He goes to the sign on his house and breaks it. Then replaces it with Joe. It started raining like something made it rain. Void is probably saying that he doesn't want peace. To prove my answer, Void strikes lighting right by the peace statue. He runs in his house frightened. Joe had no other videos. I checked the comments, nothing. I checked the video description and it says, it hasn't turned day yet and I found someone's base, though I'm in single player. So whatever Void is doing to your world, I hope you have peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.